Happy Soulful Smudge Sunday. I don't know about you guys, but I could not get out of bed today. Oh my gosh. We are about to have our own Snowmageddon. And so, yeah, the air is cold and damp. And thank you, Cedar. Sacred Cedar. I did not want to get out of bed, but I did want to be here with you guys today. So I pulled myself together and I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh, actually it's not showing up here. Good. I'm a little wrinkly. I'm a little wrinkly for the wear. But you know, I have just had this amazing week of doing so many things that are really important to my soul that I didn't really keep up on like my everyday stuff. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We are where we're supposed to be, right? So today is episode 5. It is February 3rd. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's already February 3rd. Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy. And today our theme is master your game here. Yesterday I had this amazing moment and I was driving with Edward and it was so gloomy and we really wanted to have this adventure day because he's got a busy schedule. I have a busy schedule. So we try to go on our days when we both have days off, whether the weather is nice or not. We've been really good about at least once a week going somewhere in nature or going for a nature drive or just spending some time together in that kind of capacity where we're connecting with each other and we're connecting with spirit. You know, some people like to go out to eat. Ed and I are both empaths. So as much as we love to be waited on, we actually don't like the energy of restaurants. And it's funny, when I was, for many, many years, I always loved going out to eat and it was like my favorite thing. And it's because I used to drink. So I can handle the clink, 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 the talking and all that when my senses are dulled by alcohol, right? But because I smoke cannabis, it heightens things, right? So sometimes when I go into a restaurant, I need the cannabis to help with the energy around me, but then it just heightens everything and I'm like, and I feel like a crazy person. Anyway, with that being said, it doesn't show me that anyone is here. So, if you're here, welcome. Thank you for coming. Let's see. Hold on one second. I'm getting a message. Who has anxiety? Someone's having a lot of anxiety right now. Okay. Because it's not mine. If anything, I'm tired. But no, it's, when I started talking about that story, I felt somebody else's energy and a lot of anxiety. So if you're having a lot of anxiety, take yourself out of the situation. Recently, someone said to me, but that's my job. I'm like, then you need to find a different job. I mean, that's like staying with someone like, oh, but I love them and they beat you every day. You know what I mean? It's like you don't stay in a situation that's unhealthy for you. So if your job is unhealthy for you, get out of it. Find a new vocation. You know, it's been 4 years. 4 years actually of last week, I think it was, that Gaia closed. And that was one of my most favorite jobs I ever had. I loved all my coworkers. I loved the owner. I loved what I was doing. I was, working for a company that supported, sustainable and organic. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. But when that business closed, I had to find something else. And it's taken me 4 years to get to this point. And now, if you had told me 4 years ago that I would be here and that this would be going on the way it is, I'd probably start crying. Truthfully, because I was still drinking, I was single. I had just lost my job. It was coming up. My dad had been gone for like 8 months and that was really hard. That Christmas was such a hard Christmas. Actually from Thanksgiving to New Year's, I didn't want to be with anyone. Even my birthday was really hard. I just wanted to be fucked up the whole time. My dad loved Christmas and the holidays. And so it was really hard to have a first Christmas without talking to my dad. And even though we weren't super, super close, in the end, our relationship was getting stronger again. So it was really hard. There's nothing worse than having a tumultuous relationship with someone for most of your life. And then in the last moments of their life, you see that connection and you get to be together. So that wrecked me for a long time, especially because that's when I was coming into my gifts. And as a psychic, I had a dream about my dad very vividly the night before. So vivid that it was like, I woke up and I was like, I think I need to call my dad. And all day I was like, I need to call my dad. And on the way to work, I saw this thing about Maya Angelou and I was like, oh my gosh, Maya Angelou died. I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. I'm like, it was horrible. And then little did I know that that night my dad would die. That was so weird. And then who would know that a year later, so my dad and Maya Angelou died on May 28th. And a year later, on May 17th, I met Edward. And at our date, we were at the tea house on Belmont in Portland. It was such a great first date because he was sober, and I was just newly sober. And we, you know, it's one of those things. We talked a lot on the phone and like through text and stuff, but we hadn't said certain things about personal stuff. And so I said something, or he said something like his birthday was coming up, and I was like, oh God, oh, please don't say it. I was like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. And I'm like, when's your birthday? And he's like, May 28th. I'm like, oh my gosh. But now I've learned to realize what a cool thing that is. Like my love, my best friend, like his birthday is my dad's death day. So my dad's birthday back into spirit. So, and his lifetime here on earth. So it's just so funny how things happen, you know, how everything's so divinely connected. So, yeah. And so yesterday, getting back to, so they stopped me on that. So the anxiety, you got to pull yourself out of it, you guys. So even if you haven't typed something here, somebody is thinking about ways they can help heal themselves. And that's what I'm getting is it's the anxiety. I'm hearing it's the job. So whoever this person is, I'm hearing the job is your main thing. I'm hearing the home life isn't super great, but you can handle it. It's the job that is like, so I'm hearing you're feeling empty and like the drudgery of waking up. And I know those jobs. I know the drudgery of waking up. And so I spent so much time trying to find work. And after applying for like 96 jobs in like, I don't know, I think it was like 6 months or something, and going interview after interview after interview and coming up short, I was like, I got to do something. And so I ended up starting my own online store. And then I had a little pop-up shop in my friend's store for a while. But anyway, I just kept searching and searching and searching. And it was in working with my spirit guides and working with my own shamans and gurus is when I realized that this was my job. That this was my job. Now, mind you, some jobs are great, or some months are great, and I make a lot of money, and it's a really great month. And then some months are really low. And, you know, last month was like the lowest month I've had since I've been working as a psychic, which is really weird. However, I said to Edward the other day, I go, I know that's a divine purpose because I'm going to Portland, not this week, but the following week. And I'm going to be there for 2 months. And I already know already, like there's going to be so much stuff that's coming down the pipeline. I'm going to be doing so much work that it's going to be fine. But it was a little intimidating. And luckily Edward had a really, really flush month. So, you know, it's been good. And that's the balance, you know. And I'm in that dichotomy, you know, like I'm in that. And it's interesting because for many, 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 many years, I was single and took care of myself. And, you know, I've had people help me along the way, which has been great. I've been divinely blessed by so many people to help me. But it's mainly been me. It's mainly been me taking care of me. So it's really nice once in a while to have someone else take care of you. Just so you can work your stuff out. Oh, Baba. Baba went into the closet. I let her go in there, but I can hear the creak. If I didn't know she was in there, I'd be a little freaked out right now. I don't know if you just heard it. It was like creak. Anyway, I am in this like happy euphoric place because yesterday I just had this moment when I was driving with Edward. I'm just bouncing around a little bit here because the spirits aren't jumping through and you guys aren't jumping through. So I'm just going to kind of go with the flow of the conversation. But anyway, so we were driving and there wasn't much sun. And I was like, come on, Ra, you know. And Ra and I are tight. I mean, seriously, we are. Because when I really, really, really need sun, It could be the shittiest day. It'll call for no sun whatsoever. I'll hear people be like, it wasn't sunny. What are you talking about? And, right down the road, I'm like, it was sunny for me. Ra will come out, even if it's for like 5 minutes, just for me to like bask in the glow of the sun and feel the warmth on my face, on my body, on my skin. It's like whatever it is. But Ra comes through for me when I really need him to. And so yesterday when I was talking to Ra, I said, I've been feeling kind of disconnected from everything and everyone. You know that kind of feeling of been there, done that. Well, that's kind of been, speaking of, look at this pretty rock I got yesterday. That's kind of been my theme lately. Is I feel like I love the fact that we keep revisiting the same thing because we're learning it deeper. We're going deeper. I love that. I really do. But there's another part of it that I don't feel like everybody talks about. And for me, when I go back around something again to get a deeper knowing of it, sometimes on my ego, it's my soul knowledge that's like, oh yeah, like, oh, I get it, But it's the simplicity of the knowing that I started to realize that I'm not fully divinely connected to anything but this consciousness. Like, I feel like I'm obsessed with the consciousness right now. Like my witchcraft stuff, I had all these like plans to do stuff. I'm making myself do things. Like I'm doing this 28-day tarot challenge that my friend Jules and Nick and some other people I know, we all follow this same person, and we're all doing it. So it's kind of cool. And yesterday was really fun because I pulled the Pope in my deck, but it's the Hierophant. But it's interesting because Edward pulled the Queen of Cups. And so he's doing it with me. He's just not advertising it. And we both had these like really cool aha moments. So yesterday, again, getting back to it, I'm kind of floating all over the place. It's because of that. It's like I get so lost in meditation, or we'll be driving and I'll get so lost in thought. Edward's so quiet. I love that part of him. We don't need to talk all the time, which is really great. So sometimes we'll have silence in the car. Sometimes we'll have like some Native American music in the background, or some type of, spiritual uplifting music. And then we'll just drive through the trees, through the mountains. We'll get out, we'll take pictures of a stream or whatever. We'll go for a hike. We'll go have a picnic like we did yesterday by on the Puget Sound. It's like whatever we feel called to do. But yesterday when I had that moment with Ra, and I was talking about the consciousness and how everything's starting to feel so silly to me. And I don't mean that in a demeaning way. It's just, I feel like the more I know, the less I want to contribute to other areas of the spiritual realm. And I know that I'm a witch, I'm a healer, an intuitive, an empath, all these things, but these labels are really becoming less and less important to me. And earlier this week, I was interviewed for a podcast, and the interviewer, my sister friend Michelle, oh gosh, Michelle, I'm so sorry, I forgot the name of your show. I meant to write it down, but I will plug it next time. But when I was on her show, she asked me like what I wanted, what my title was or whatever. And I said, well, on my business card, I'm a spiritual guidance counselor. And, and I think at first she was, concerned that she just wanted to make sure people knew who I was and like what I'm doing and that kind of thing. So she can, advertise me, right? Because we're here to help each other. So I just realized, I was like, well, it'll come into play later. And it did. And it always does, But what was so frustrating to me is that I'm realizing that I don't like these labels. I'm not comfortable with them, because I think we change all the time. And when I was growing up, it was so like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you going to do? And because everybody had found their way or found their path, I was always the one everybody was worried about. The irony is, I don't really think I was worried about myself so much as everybody else was worried about me. And then that made me feel like I should be worried, or I should be concerned, I don't want to use fear-based words like worry, but that I should be concerned, And I'm just like, what do I, you know what I mean? Like, I was happy. I was happy with my life, especially when I was a server and I was a bartender. Oh my gosh, I loved my life. It was crazy and awesome. But it's like, I'd sleep till like 11 or 12. I'd get up, I'd do my day. I'd go to work at 5. I'd be done by like 10 or midnight. I'd go out to the bars with my friends till 2 or 5 in the morning, especially when I was in Chicago, and we'd stay in the bars that were grandfathered in and open till like 4 or 5 in the morning and go out for breakfast. And, I would work sometimes 3 or 4 days a week, sometimes 5, but usually 3 or 4 days a week. And I was bringing down almost $1,000 a week. I made so much money. I did whatever I wanted. I loved my life. And I remember at one point I said something like that. I was like 34, and I could see people get irritated. I could see my friends and family who were, either my age or had been my age. And I could see sometimes that they would be jealous. I can feel it. I could feel it. And I would tease them. I'd say, oh, don't be jealous because I could do whatever I want. And they'd be like, what am I jealous of? That you are still a waiter in your 30s and blah, blah, blah. And they would like run me down. And I'm like, they're like, I have a family and I have a job and I have a house and I have a mortgage and blah, blah, blah. And I have 2.5 cars. And I was like, I was shamed so much because I was happy for just doing what I wanted to do. And I remember my one friend, Doug, he was a career server in Chicago. And at that time, I was in my 30s. I believe he was in his 40s. And one of our friends, his friend who became my friend, was also a career waiter who worked at McCormick and Schmidt's on the river in Chicago. And he was like 52. And he got a lot of flack too, because people would say to him, God, what are you going to do? And he's like, this is what I'm going to do. I love it. And he made like $65,000 a year. Now this was like, I'm 47, so this is probably like 15 years ago. So he was making good money, and it was just him, and he lived in a really cheap rent control apartment and just was like putting money away. And he's like, I'm not worried about it. He's like, I'm not worried about it because everything he made had to go on the books, because when you work in fine dining like that, most people pay with credit cards. So you can't fake, like when people say to me, oh, it must be nice to be a server and you don't have to pay taxes. I'm like, I pay taxes. I'm like, I work in fine dining. That shit, I can't fucking hide that shit. I'm like, those credit card tips are allocated to me. My name, my social security number. No, I fucking have to claim, And so it was just, and it was so interesting. And I'd see these people, they were so jealous of my life. And I was like, and I am glad now that my mom, when I hit 36, my mom's like, no, seriously, like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't do this forever. You have a problem with your feet, with your back. Like, what are you going to do? And I was single, and I come from a lot of women who, depended on their men, or their men were the breadwinners for the most part. And, they may have worked later, but like they were the stay-at-home parent. So, they had this kind of like fear-based mentality of like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like I remember one time my sister was like, I worry about you when you get old. Like, who's going to take care of you? And I was like, Jesus, I was like, stop worrying. I'm like, I'm going to be okay. I'm like, have you met me? Like I've said that to people so many times. I'm like, I always land on my feet. And the truth is, it's because I was always such an optimistic person. And I knew that deep down, and that's probably my Sagittarius nature too, or just my soul, whatever. But even then, before I like knew who I was, I always kind of knew I was going to be okay. And I wasn't concerned about it. But then everybody else would put their fear-based concerns on me. And then I'd be like, So I am grateful to my mother. She did push me to go back to college, and I'm glad that I did, because I majored in fashion design. And if I hadn't done that and gone, you know what I mean? It's like, and if you don't go through this way and you're going through that, I would have never, if you don't go through this door and that door, you would never get to where you are. So it all happened the way it was supposed to, and I'm grateful. However, getting back to the person with the anxiety about their job, it's like, you don't have to fit in some cookie cutter mold, or you don't, even if you don't like your career. I read this really great article from Carolyn Elliott. Research her. She's an amazing, powerful witch. And every time I go to take her money course, because I'm like, what's going on with my money? Like, maybe I'm not doing something right, or maybe I'm not manifesting right, or maybe I'm not, blah, blah, blah. I made $20 last month. That was weird. That was weird for me. It was super uncomfortable. I made a lot of money in November and December. And so I was okay through January, but I said, Dad, I'm like, I only made $20 last month. And that was only, thank you, Hella. That was after my boundaries thing, which I didn't mean for it, but thank you anyway. And I hope it's okay that I just said that about you, dear heart. Thank you for your contribution. But how cool was that? Because she recognized my work and recognized what we've been doing together, and was like, hey, I'm going to throw you, some money. Thank you. So good exchange of energy. But yeah, it always comes around. And if you're really doing what you love or what you're really good at, then it does work out, you know? And I'm realizing like I love doing the show with you guys, but I'm not feeling the need to record other shows during the week. And I'm not doing, I haven't been doing a lot of readings, but I know it's also because I'm like kind of getting ready for my next, Portland's going to be busy. I've already seen a lot of things coming down the pipeline, and I know of a lot of things coming down the pipeline, so it's going to be really busy. But yeah, you know, we don't have to stay in these jobs that we don't love. And if it's a soul sucker and it's literally making you not want to get out of bed and you like cry. I had jobs. Did you have those jobs? Because I've had those jobs where I'm like, just don't want to go. Where it was so bad that I would have to call in sick. Or it got to the point where some of my jobs where I had to wake and bake. Like there was no way I was going to that job completely sober. I had to be a little bit high just to deal with the assholes that I fucking worked with. Those jobs are difficult, you know, and I have had those. So I understand, you know, but part of putting on your oxygen mask and taking care of yourself first is being in something that drives you, that makes you happy. A lot of places are raising the minimum wage, which is really great. So, you know, even, you know, some people are like, well, I just work at a coffee house as a barista. I really love coffee. I love being a barista. I'm like, then be a fucking barista. And if it's not, doesn't pay well where you live, then look into it and move. Like if you know, when I was growing up, a lot of my friends would be like, oh, it's so easy for you. You know, you can move wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. And again, I never thought that. I was like, well, you can move with your kids somewhere. You and your kids are not glued to where you are. You are not a tree. You are not rooted there. You may have been born there and your roots may derive there, but you were not planted there. You can move wherever you want. I had this great conversation with Cheyenne yesterday. I'm trying to not say marijuana, but it's hard because I've been saying it for years. But now that I know it derived from the government, I don't like saying it anymore. But it is a pretty word for some reason. I like it. But anyway, my Mary Jane, from the beautiful Cheyenne yesterday, I've been having all these breakthroughs and all these moments where I'm realizing how much we need each other and how much, you know, we need to rely on each other for support when we make big decisions, when we make, you know, and yesterday I was talking to Cheyenne about this, how I've moved so many times, and she's like, you're a gypsy. I'm like, that's right. And there's nothing wrong with being a gypsy. Just like I've been studying the palmistry and finding out that like for years, like, oh, don't read my palm. What are you, a gypsy? And it's like, actually the gypsies didn't even fucking start that. The gypsies took that, which doesn't surprise me, but they took that and they used that, they utilized that skill, that gift, but it didn't actually come from them. Hold on. Ooh, I wondered if we were going to get one. So the bear is our spirit animal today. I'm going to write that down. I didn't bring my other phone into this today. I actually haven't even turned on my phone since like Friday morning because I had so much going on this week. And a lot of phone calls, interviews, cool stuff, really awesome stuff. But I just needed to turn my phone off for a few days. I don't even want to, some days I just don't even want to look at it. So I'm going to write that down to research that. We can all research that. Bear spirit medicine. So that's our spirit medicine for the week. And, oh, I heard that yesterday. I wondered. And the hyena. Interesting. When I think of the hyena, I think of scavenging, like scavengers. And the bear is hibernating. Because usually the spirit animals have something to do with... And like I've worked with both these before, but I don't remember them all. I work with so many and so many people. Some I do because they keep coming up, you know, or certain animals. Like I know like for magic and stuff, you know, like the corvids and the owl and the eagle and certain things like that. But like other things like I know like the bear and the hyena, I have a feeling they have a much deeper meaning for us for this week. So I will research that and then I will put it in the notes underneath for later in the week. The funny thing is, I don't even know how it... Wait, what did you say? Oh, yeah. So for those of you who are on Instagram, there's a really great photographer. He works for National Geographic, but he is an independent. I believe he's independent. I think he works for a lot of other magazines. But his name is Paul Nickel. And he has been following the spirit bear, the white bear. They call it the spirit bear, and the white bear. I mean, technically, the polar bear is the only bear that's actually white, because the spirit bear, that's hard to say, is actually like this cream colored, but the spirit bear is really powerful, and there's only so many of them in the world. They're very rare, and I believe they're in the Amazon rainforest. Um, they're in a rainforest, but I don't know if it's the Amazon. Is it the Amazon? I feel like they're telling me no. It's more than the Amazon. I'm getting this kind of like Tibetan somewhere. Okay, anyway, I digress. That's not the message today. But if you're on Instagram, look up Paul Nickel and look at his spirit bear pictures. Oh my gosh, you guys. If this bear is not modeling and posing for him, I don't know who is. And I love that he's been telling the story about it, because he has like millions of followers. And I like that he takes pictures of these animals, and then he doesn't overly do it, but he'll impose just a little bit of his knowledge with these animals, because he's interacting with these animals out in the wild by himself for long periods of time. So he's studying their behavior, he's studying them. And I believe he was the animal behavior specialist first. And then I think photography was a hobby. And then I think somehow he married them together. Don't quote me on all that, but I believe that's his history. But I've been following him for years. And it's actually really cool, because when I first got on Instagram, he wasn't as big. And so we would talk sometimes. And now he's got like, I think 5 million followers or something. So once in a while, like he'll like something of mine. I'll be like, oh, yay. I'm like, cool. Just because I really respect him. I think he's super amazing. And what he's doing is so profound. So working with these spirit animals is a big thing for us. And they're segueing into getting back to me being in the car with Ra. And then the sun came out, and then I was feeling sad about the consciousness, feeling lonely, not sad. They wanted to correct me on that. Feeling lonely. Edward and I, even together, we both were saying like, we love each other and we love being together, but there is a loneliness when you start to realize how things work, or at least how they work for you. Like, I'm starting to really understand that these labels don't mean anything, and that this is fluorite, working with the consciousness, can you see that? It's hard to participate in the human stuff. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean that I don't want to. I just don't enjoy it. And I'm trying to figure out, my next thing is figuring out how to get back to that and enjoying it again, and enjoying being here, and enjoying, I always love helping people. That is my joy, which is why I know I'm excited about my next trip, and I know that's going to be really good for me. But right after I was thinking that about the consciousness, I heard, you have the tools. You have to do more work. Like, you have to go more deep. You have to go deeper. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then right after that, I look over, and what do I see is a billboard. I thought it was a church, but later Ed goes, no, it wasn't a church. It was for like an adventure area. Like, it was like you can play miniature golf, and it was like one of those things. And so it was like a gaming thing. So that's why it said, master your game here. But I realized that's what Spirit was trying to say to me. Like, you know what? Why don't you master your game here first, and then we'll talk. Because our arrogance seeps in. And even though I am older, even though I've been here many times, even though I'm understanding that none of this exists at all, but it does exist. Like, this hair is tangible. This bell is tangible. It's like I just burned, like, I can smell it. I can feel it. I've got peppermint and spearmint. I needed the spearmint for clarity in my diffuser. And actually, I'm going to bring them down a little bit closer to here. You guys can get some too. Oh, God, that's really nice. I realized that how arrogant for me to say. But it's okay, because that's where I'm at this plateau. You know what I mean? Like, I still have so much more to go. I have so much more to learn. I have so many more places to go into, doors to go through, attics to sift through, you know. There's a lot. But it was like later on I got from Spirit, master the muggle first. Master the muggle first, and then we'll talk about the consciousness, you know? And I was like, fuck! And so I think it's personal, you know? That's what I'm getting from them too. Like, it's personal, you guys. It's so personal. So however I'm going to master my game here is how I'm going to master my game here. And how you're going to master your game here is how you're going to master your game here. And only you know, right? You are the one with the tools. So it's 30 minutes in, and I know a few people said they were coming. So I guess I don't know why people can't type, and I got to find out what is going on, because I did the test. I mean, as far as everything is concerned, it's a go. So I don't know why. I have been talking about doing some live interactive on my Instagram, but Amber had mentioned at the episode before this, you know, my prequel to this episode, that she wasn't on Instagram. So I'm assuming, you know, there's probably a lot of people who aren't on Instagram. Maybe you can get an Instagram account and not actually have an account, but maybe you can just get in on there with me and do the live, and I can like let you know when it's going to happen. I'll do some more investigating this week. This is all new. This is only, you know, our 5th show, and our 5th on the 3rd, you know, so it's going to grow, and there's going to be more experiences. Like I said, I mean, when I was a guest on Michelle's show this week, we talked about in Portland, I want to have interviews with her. I also want to have an interview with one of my shaman brothers, Joshua Windwalker. He's an amazing Native American shaman, and I want to have him on as well. So there's going to be a lot of different people on. There's a few of my friends who have, and Junie, my beautiful Junie, who's an artist. I want to do a show at her house and talk about art and things like that. And I want to go into people's businesses and promote their businesses and tell you a little bit more about them and what they're offering, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. I wanted Soulful Smudge Sunday to be something that was really special and was a live and interactive event. You know, the winter is a hard time for a lot of people. They, you know, they don't necessarily go inward, but they just shut down. And so I'm not going to, you know, who knows, maybe in 6 months from now, I'll be like, I want to be able to keep you guys at bay. You know, I'll be like, okay, one question at a time. I did feel one of your questions, though, at the beginning. So that was good. That was good. The anxiety thing. But yeah, I'm starting to feel like the mastering the game here. What did you say, Spirit? Oh, I'm going to have a walnut. I haven't had much of an appetite since yesterday. I did a lot of meditating yesterday, last night, and this morning. And when I get so into spirit, I have to really remind myself to take care of my muggle. Because I don't really care about the food at that time. Like, I just want to work and do my work, and I don't want to worry about feeding my body. I just want to feed my mind. And my soul. And meditation has helped so much. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to sit with Spirit. Let's take in some deep breaths. In and out. So somebody's really emotional, as I just took a minute to tap into who's ever watching this right now. And it doesn't mean you're here present. It could mean that you wanted to be here and you couldn't, but when you watch it, you'll understand. I'm feeling like this really heavy emotional, like I want to cry. And because I don't want to cry, and I'm in a really happy place, I know it's not mine. Oh, honey. That's okay. Let it out. Sometimes the silence is really powerful. The last few adventures, Edward and I have just gone to like big bodies of water and just sat there watching these rapids, just sitting in silence watching these rapids for a long time. I'm sending you Reiki because my hands are like just like boom, 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 boom. So that came out of nowhere. So to the person that's crying their eyes out right now, I love you, I love you, I love you. I won't call you by name. Just know I'm loving you. I'm giving you a hug. Those chills that you're feeling up and down your body right now, that's from me in spirit. That's letting you know you're not alone. You don't have to talk. You don't have to say anything to anyone. Let it out. It's a huge transition right now. Oh, I'm sending you Reiki, honey. I'm sending you love. You are divinely protected. Laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. Yeah. Okay. So reach out this week, you guys, especially some of those who have already, there's 2 of you right now that did the buy one, get one free, and I know you were holding some stuff off. Reach out this week or reach out to me in the next few days if you want to get some time together to work together, because I'm feeling like it's time for the second part. Or maybe even just because now I just heard no 1 and 1. I heard 1 was an hour and 1 was a half an hour. So whoever you are, okay. Yeah. Stop trying too hard. Let go. It's okay. You're not giving in because you're asking for help again. You know, I mean, sometimes when people will be like, "Oh, can I see you next week?" I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Like, let's wait. Let's wait." Sometimes people need it every week for like the first month because they're in a really dire straits, or they're going through a depression or a huge breakup or something like that. And that's where my spiritual guidance counselor comes in. That's where I like come in as like a therapist and not just a psychic or an intuitive. It's like I can kind of, you know, get in there and help you work things out. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily, and you know what's so great? I always tell people the greatest part is when I go into sessions with people, no matter what, the container is always set. There's always stuff that comes through. So it's always a psychic session of some sorts. But it might not be like your grandma's hair and your necklace is in the top drawer. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like so swami all the time. Sometimes it's just like, I'll be like, no, I'm kind of hearing from spirit, blah, blah, blah. Or you need to work on this week, or, you know, so reach out. Let's get some time together. Let's get that going. And, you know, the Billy, don't be a hero. You know what I mean? Like, you can go so long, and then if you really need help, reach out to me. I'll know. That's the thing I know. When people do say, I want it now, sometimes I'm like, no, I kind of have to say, no, I'm here and it's not, you know, the right time. But for the most part, ooh, it did it again. I don't know what's going on. This happened last time. And I even cleaned out my phone, so I don't know what's going on. You know, it's interesting. There's so much energy between us. When I first did this show, it was because I wanted to work with all these other powerful healers like myself. That's really, really, you know, what tends to happen is I feel like I keep trying to put myself at the same level as everybody because I don't believe we're better than, more than, less than. Some of us have more knowledge on this subject, more knowledge on that subject, and we're always learning and we're always a work in progress. So it's not like we're, you know, we're always going to evolve and always going to change if we're open to it. So I don't like to put myself in like a, you know, this or that, but it's interesting because somehow I keep getting kind of pushed up to that. And so, and I got the Hierophant card yesterday, which is, I was like, that message meant a lot for me yesterday because I believe that I am in desperate need myself of working with people who are at a higher level and vibration than I am to even, you know, evolve my gifts and my skills to another level. But also I know it's time for me to like evolve my teaching and evolve my work as a light worker and as a spirit warrior, because I get bored really easily. And I have been working as a psychic medium now for almost 4 years. And it's a lot of It's a lot of work and I love it, but I'm really selfish with my time lately. I'm really selfish. I'm actually, that's why when I go to Portland, I really want to work on my book because I have so much to say. And I'm writing a book. I'm co-writing a book with someone else right now. And we were on the phone this week and we were brainstorming about that. And, oh, I just looked and it said 40/20, but 420. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I should just get high on here. Maybe that would be fun. Maybe bring some people on. No, but anyway, as I'm working with all these different people and all these different healers, I'm leveling up, but I'm also realizing that the more I'm going through my stuff, like I was looking for some ideas that I had jotted down with, to talk to this person about. And then when I went through all of my stuff from my ideas, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I have so much here. And I said, I can't wait to get to Portland and like really like lay it out. Cause big camper, like this is the only like real surface I have, my desk. Other than that, I have a couch, a bed, kitchen, a bathroom, dressers, closets, a refrigerator. That's it. You know what I mean? So there I'm like excited because I'm going to be able to like put everything together. And I had this vision of me like printing things out and like putting them all together and putting my book together. So I'm excited about that because I know once my book gets out, I'm going to have more financial freedom to do the things that I want to do because I'm so multidimensional, and as much as I love my witch, I'm struggling with her right now because I feel like it's the ancestors coming together in a culmination, but I also feel like there's a part of me that's, I don't know how to say this, like evolved past it without saying, I don't know how to talk about it. I mean, I'm being really raw with you guys right now because I don't know if I'm using the right verbiage or languaging that I want to use, but because I don't know if I've evolved past it. I'm just saying like, it's a part of me, but I don't feel the need to dive into it any longer. And I think the loneliness I'm feeling is that I haven't been working closely with a lot of my witches and my covens. I'm just such a loner. I am really such a loner. Look at this cool rock, by the way. I think it's a fire agate. I wish I had more for you guys today. No one's interacting, and it's so gloomy and gross out that let's just play with crystals and stones. Yeah, I mean, you can tell, like, I'm here, but I'm not all there, as my mom used to say. I'm like, Mom, are you here? And she'd say, I'm here, but I'm not all there. Blue calcite. I've been working with a lot of the calcites, green calcite. Calcite's really good for astral traveling and astral projection, but if you're going to do that, make sure you have things to protect you, like black tourmaline and labradorite. You want certain things to protect you, and like a big fat beautiful quartz that'll amplify these things. I put them all around me when I'm traveling. And amethyst, ametrine, iolite. But the astral projections, another thing too is that there are days where I'm like, can I just like go into a coma? I shouldn't say that because be careful what you wish for, right? But there's some days where I'm like, I just want to like go into a coma for a while so I can just live there for a while and like let my body really, really rest and like come back. But the truth is, I don't want that to happen because when I come back, nothing's, well, it depends how long I'd be gone. But if it's still like this, there's just so much work and I'm not lazy. I am the year of the pig and we are lazy. But it's not even that. It's just been such a struggle. It's beyond the winter blues. It's so much more in depth than that. And I wish I was a better master teacher for you guys because I feel like the more I learn, the less I feel like I should be doing this. The more I feel like a fraud. You know what I mean? The more I'm like, can I just go to Tibet now? Can I just go live with the monks for the rest of my life and be done? And I could, We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. I may just get so tired of it that I will. But I do have to master my game here. And by mastering my game, it's finding things that interest me. So find things that interest you. Work with things that, I know it's so sad. One of my spirit guides is like, boy, you are Debbie Downer today. I'm like, I know, I'm not trying to be, but you know what? I'm just keeping it real, right? I'm not going to be like, hey, hi. I mean, I guess I could smoke a bunch of weed and pretend, but I'm not a faker. It's not part of my DNA. I'm not a faker. I don't believe in faking it. I believe... Oh, God, that smells good. Oh, man, I wish you had smell-o-vision. So when I'm hiking on these old growth trees, if there's branches that are fallen or pieces like this that are, you know, fallen, I take them home and I dry them out. You have to be careful, though, because when they get dry, as you see, that shit will start on fire. I'm a triple fire sign, and my moon's in Scorpio, so I'm good. It's the one element I'm not afraid of at all, like the fire. I mean, I'm not concerned about, I should say, because I feel like it is my element and I can control it to a certain degree. I mean, come on, nobody can really control fire, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely my element. So nobody has anything, nothing else. And I'm glad you're feeling better, beautiful soul, because I don't feel that thing in my gut anymore. So that means you're feeling better. And, oh, thank you, Spirit. That's right. And also, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who watched my episode last week, because I know you really heard me, because I felt your hooks come out of me. See, what happens is sometimes when we're working with people or when we're thinking about people too much, we are connected. We don't need our phones. We don't need, you know, we can connect with each other without the use of electronics or, you know, technology. We can connect with each other. So if you're thinking about somebody in a positive way, in a negative way, and if you're continuing to thinking about them, you're kind of pulling their energy to you. So, you know, for me, it's like I was, for a while, I couldn't take it anymore. I felt like I was being pulled in this direction and that direction. And I feel like by speaking with a lot of you last week, I felt the hooks kind of come out and you kind of pulled back and were like, that's right, I need to do this on my own. Because what happens is, even if you're thinking of me in a positive way, if you're thinking about like, what would Lula do? Or what would, but what would Lula say? Or I wish I can talk to Lula, you know, those kind of things. It's like, there's a part of me that'll go, yes, because I am awake and connected in all forms, whether I'm asleep or I'm awake with you, I can still talk to you. So if you come to my mind, I'm good at keeping my walls up. But if I'm like in a meditation, or if I'm, you know, or if we're really strongly connected in many lives together, I will feel you. And so if you're talking to me a lot, or if you're saying certain things, what my goal is to get you to think about yourself. What would speak with your higher self, connect to your higher self, not me. Like I said before, I'm just the one that helps you. I just put down the breadcrumbs and help you get to your higher self and help you connect to spirit, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, you know, God, goddess. I'm just here to help you connect to that. But it's your job to work with your higher self and work with your deities and work with your spirit guides to help get you there. Because I work in both worlds, in the spirit world and in the human world and in a lot of other places. Because I'm working in all these different places concurrently, a lot of the time, if people are constantly pulling me to their attention too, that's when I know I'm tired. Or like if I'm not sleeping, I'm like, oh gosh, somebody's really like got me in there, you know? So thank you. This has been a very peaceful week for me, and I felt all of you take back your own control and take away that pressure from me. So thank you. I divinely thank you for that. It makes a huge difference. It really does. And it'll be good for you too, because then it's easier for you to connect with your spirit guides and your higher self if you're not pulling from other sources. You know, there's a reason why there are all different levels and there's spirit guides and angels and all these different things, right? It's like a video game. Master your game here. You know, it's about that connection that you have. Even though I love you guys, like even if I work with some of the most powerful healers, when I'm done with them, I'm done with them. I'm not like going into their mental bank and being like, you know, not anymore anyway. See, I used to do it too, right? We all learn our lessons. And I have had spirit or humans here that are spirit warriors that have said, you know, what's going on? They'll text me and be like, I can feel you. So what's going on? Did you want to talk to me? You know, and I get that from you guys too. So it's nice. It's nice to have that connection with someone, but it's also nice to have your own divine connection that you don't need to your own dial-up, so to speak. And what were you saying? Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't keep that connection going all the time, then you lose it. And using our tools, you know, using these tools that we have. I love this one. Some of them, because of the lighting, it doesn't work that way. I love this one. But yeah, using our tools here, it's really vital. Look at this smoky quartz. These tools they're invaluable to our healing, you guys. They're invaluable. I sleep with them. I carry them in the car. I mean, my whole house is just, you know, I'm so divinely protected. You know, I've got my selenites everywhere, my kyanite, you know, all these protectors, these filters that protect us from the energies, the unwanted energies. But yeah, using your tools. I mean, I've got all my stuff. Oh. And turning your essential oils into sprays. This is a Palo Santo one. That's nice. You know, so if you don't want the smoke, the smudge from the smoke, you know, oh God, that smells so good. So you take, like for this bottle, I don't know what size this is. It's 1 ounce. So for this 1 ounce bottle, I think I put in 4 drops of Palo Santo and then the rest water. I'm on a well that's from Mount Rainier. My water couldn't be more pure, so I use that. I know some people use filtered water or distilled water. I believe they recommend the distilled water for that, but I feel like it's just as good and just as powerful from the well for me, because the water here like is alive. It feels amazing when I drink it, so I know, and I can tell when it's with the air, like it's good. But I also know living in cities, the city water is filled with junk and all that bullshit. So get yourself some good distilled water if you can't get yourself some wild, radical, free water from a spring or a well. Oh, okay. So this message is for Stacy, and I don't normally call it out, but this one they're actually having me to say the name. Stacy, work with the whales. Work with whale energy this week. Work with whale energy this week. And we could always all work with whale energy, but that was really profound. I'll text you too, just in case you don't watch this. But yeah, that just came through. All right, is there anybody else? Because we only have a few more minutes. I'm going to wrap it up early. I'm just not in the mood, and if nobody's going to participate, then like I'm just going to do as much as I can do. I don't know what this means, but I'm hearing Stephanie be at one with the robot. Are you talking about the human robot? Oh, okay, yeah. Our biological robot. So, oh, this is from my spirit guide, Stephanie. Oh, okay. I have a spirit guide named Stephanie, but she usually comes in a different way. That sounded like it was for a person specifically named Stephanie. Oh, okay. Oh, and the hippos. Work with the hippos this week. Gosh, you guys are giving us a lot of animals. This is cool. Okay, so hippo and whale for Stacy. They're really excited for us to work with the hyena. I think the hyena is the star of the show today. So, you know, you're just going to go in and you're going to Google like hyena, spirit animal, spirit medicine, whichever, you know, do both. And then you're just going to go through either from the first page of Google or the second, whatever, just until you read the synopsis of each one, whichever one pulls to you, that's your medicine. Because each of them, you have to remember everyone's coming from their own level of consciousness. So whoever is doing their research on that spirit animal, that's the message they're receiving from their guides on that. And because it's so vast, that's the one thing I'm realizing too. It's so vast, you guys. It's so vast. We can never comprehend it right now. Not in this form, not in this mind. Even if we think we do, even if I think I know, oh, okay, it's, and I'm devout to the consciousness right now. I said to Adam, like, I don't even think I can call it spirit anymore. I feel like I want to just call it consciousness, the consciousness, because I don't feel this, I don't feel the same. I almost feel sad, almost like a death or a loss in some way of like my, like my fairy, my witch, all that always lives inside of me, of course. But I just feel like I'm kind of like, bye guys. Like I feel like I'm going to like a different place, a higher plane. I can't explain it. And I've had this weird ominous thing about February 7th, and it's my nephew's birthday. So at first I was like, oh, it must just be, that. But then I got this other really intense vibe that like something major was going to happen. And I pray that it's shifted, because I don't want it to happen. But I just feel like I get this like, so let's think really positive this week. Let's try and stay on as high a vibration as possible, because I have been feeling February 7th, that particular date, that number, that like not even like 27, but like the word February and like 7. And I keep seeing it and I keep seeing it. And because it's my nephew's birthday, I kept checking in saying, is that what it is? Is that what it is? And it was like, no. And I was like, okay, what the fuck, So this week, let's stay in a high vibration. And on February 7th, maybe it's just something really good. Maybe it's something good. So we'll just stay in a high vibration this week. We'll try and keep it positive. You like my vintage Pendleton? It's one of my faves. I think I got this. Oh, I got this at Psychic Sister. I almost said Rebels in Portland, but I got it at Psychic Sister in Olympia. But yeah, so let's try and stay in a high vibration for that. Is there any other message? Are there any other messages, Spirit, that you want me to convey or to say to someone? Nope. It's really quiet. They want us to really think about, they just keep saying the master your game here. They're saying that again, but they're not giving us specifics. And to be honest, I'm as frustrated as you. Like I was waiting to this great, like master your game here. I was waiting for this really great, solid advice, from Spirit today, but maybe it will come out in another show, or maybe it'll come out this week. And when it does, I'll let you guys know if I have my own. If you have your own breakthroughs, feel free to, comment on here later. Mindful meditation. That's the way to master our game here. And that's why I think that's where my confusion lies, because I'm working on my ego, and because I'm trying so hard to not feed into these vibes I have about myself, or this soul knowledge that I have about myself. The reason that I'm feeling that way, I think that's why I'm struggling with what they're saying right now, because I'm like, well, if I'm going to master my game here, I feel like the only way for me to do that is to go into such a deep state of meditation and work with the consciousness that I think I would have to not talk to people for a really long time. And maybe that's why I'm going to do this house sitting gig, because I don't have to talk to anybody. Here, Edward's going to come home, and we do take a few days apart, but this is different. Like I can take like a long period of time answering my own question. So I'm going to be mastering my game here. I invite you to master yours too. And then through the meditation and connecting with your spirit guides and your higher self, listen for the answers. There's no quick fixes, you guys. You have to go from one thing to another thing. Sometimes it sprouts out. Sometimes it sprouts legs and you're working with multiple things at once. I do that. But just be open to hearing what the messages are, and keep asking yourself, what's my game here? Like what part am I supposed to play? It's like the play of life, right? It's like that old saying, the world is a stage and we all must play a part. It's true. So some people think of it like as a stage, some people think of it as like a game. So it's not what's your game here in a negative, it's like, what's your game here? Like what are you going to do here? And is up your game? What are you going to bring to the table? That's all I got today. Some episodes are going to be better than others. Some are going to be gangbusters, and some of them are going to be like this. It was hard, but I kept it going. I did it. I did it. But now I can go. So have a blessed week. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. There's always more to come, but stay in touch with yourself. Stay in touch with your mind and your heart and your soul through meditation. So mote it be, so mote it be, so mote it be. Blessed be. Oh. Peace. See you next